Well, good evening, fellow explorers. Mr. Dingle, how are you, my friend?
Good, good, good. How are you, Johnny?
Um, other than a little inhaling some mold and carpet dust and ceiling
Oh,
tile dust earlier today, other than that, I'm fine.
getting some stuff done over there.
Nah, one of Julie's uncle had some water in his basement, so I took the kids over there and we demolished his basement for him.
Oh, okay. That sounds like fun.
Uh, I'm already sensitive to mold and crap like that as it is. I should have wore
Yeah,
something, but yeah,
yeah.
whatever. You only live once.
uh,
Theoretically, I mean, in this body, in this vehicle.
or you can never die. Hey,
That's right.
that's a whole other topic.
That's right. So how you doing? You ready for Loch Ness?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna look at a biblical side of things. I get comments sometimes, and people talk about, well, especially church people.
I
Talk
know who you're
about.
referring to specifically, but
Yeah, they talk about, how we talk about these different subjects about aliens and different other things. But what they don't understand is that a lot of this stuff is biblical. I mean, it's
mm,
just that, and I understand to them, most of us who grown up in the church we haven't heard preachers talk about these things, but they are
right.
in the Bible. This all through the Bible. So why not talk about it and bring some clarity to people? And I mean, not just people in general, but people in the church, and let them know, like, look, a lot of these weird things were being cited in the Bible as well, and some of them walked amongst the people.
Oh
So
yeah. You still got that whole period of we don't know what happened.
exactly,
So I
exactly.
mean, technically everything's God's creation. So
Yes.
this all falls under that. We just assume we're God's only main creation, and obviously we know about the animal kingdom and that kind of stuff, and the world and the
Yeah.
universe, but anything that resides in it doesn't matter how strange or how weird or how out there it is. It falls under His purview.
Right. And it all plays a part. Everything that God created plays a part.
Mm,
And of course, some of the creation may have gotten off, you know, the righteousness trail for a while, but it all supposed to play a part.
yeah,
And so let's talk about it. Why not talk about it? Give people some insight on, some of these creations that have been manipulated. Some of them have been manipulated by
right.
the devil, and but if God created them, we understand there was a purpose for them.
But it's a fun thing to get your mind changing gears once in a while.
Yeah.
Just looking at things through a different lens. I
Mhm.
mean, you don't have to believe anything that we're telling you. You
Right.
absolutely have that right, and we want you to form your own opinion. This is totally Joe and I created this because we just wanted to have fun. We wanted to look at some things that we both had grew up with interest in and have experience in, and just want to share kind of the stuff that we know. And
Yes.
it's just, and plus with the current world the way it is, this is just a good release, a good way to
Oh yeah.
just kind of stand out of that stuff for a little bit.
Yeah. Kind of step away from it, a bit, and look at things that are far more interesting. And I would say at a higher level, because
Mhm.
what is going on in the world right now is they're keeping us at a low level of information, of truth. And some of the things that we talk about, like what we call aliens, are beings that do resonate higher than us right now,
Right.
because this world is at such a low frequency, based on the evil and things that are going on. And but we need to really look into things that nobody really talks about, other beings, other conversations, so that, hey, when these things do come to the forefront, and I believe a lot of them are going to manifest,
Yep.
then we won't be caught off guard.
Well, I think with the evolution, the awakening that we're having right now, having right now. God, I can't talk. Um, I think collectively, the world's obviously becoming more spiritual, the vibrating at a higher level.
Yes.
So you're going to
Most
see
definitely.
a little bit different world than what you're used to seeing at that lower frequency and at that frequency of fear and that frequency of whatever. So you're gonna have more discernment. You're gonna see things for what they are. You're gonna see things that you may not have, paid attention to in the past, and or things just may actually manifest or become visible as humanity starts this, this big
Ascend.
wave of light. Is all I can say is like, we're just like this angelic host is just kind of sitting out over the world right now and just kind of, I don't want, this sounds weird, but like throwing their little fairy dust down on us and just like saying, hey, all you got to do is call on us. You guys are there. You got to call on us, and we'll help you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know if that
true.
even made any sense, but
No, they're I believe they, like we've done we've done talks on about angels, of course, with Delora, and I have done it on some of my I think I do have a video on my channel talking about angels, but that's something that we talked about. But one thing about angels is, we all know everybody at least has one angel, a guardian angel,
mm,
and they're here. The Bible talks about how they're here to minister to us, which means to serve. They're here to serve us and to help us, and God uses them to help us. Of course, we don't worship them and all those things, but we should be aware of them and acknowledge them that they are with us, and they do help us. I
yes.
share testimony all the time how I asked the Lord to send an angel to be able to find me a parking spot one time. That actually happened to me a couple times. Like, Lord, I really need, I really want a close parking spot, at this Walmart or whatever.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get Michael for that one, but
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't need Michael for that one. But it's like it's happened. Like, I would drive around, and next thing you know, somebody's pulling out close to the front, and it's like little things like that.
Yeah.
I acknowledge God and thank God in everything that happens, because I know that it's Him operating in me and with me, but He uses these angels to to help us. So
I hear
that's
you.
not weird, right? That's not
No,
weird. I mean, it's all through the Bible.
yeah,
Church people, but a lot of religious people don't acknowledge that, because when you talk about things like that, the spiritual things, a lot of spiritual things are very spooky
yes,
to those who are very religious. But God is spirit, right? They that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. It's like, come on, let's ascend a
that's
little
right.
bit. Let's get more spiritual.
Now, for those of you that may be tuning in for the first time, as we stated earlier, this is just a fun show. This isn't meant to be a be all end all,
Right.
like everything you're ever going to know or want to know about the Loch Ness monster is going to be in this show.
Right. You're
That's
gonna get
just
it
not
all.
how these shows are designed. It's to really get your brains going, get your juices going, thinking in a little bit different direction, and just
Mhm.
having a little bit of fun.
Yes,
So
exactly.
with that, the Loch Ness monster, it's one of those things like Kleenex. Everybody's probably heard of the Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot, and for those of you that don't know, it's in Scotland. The locks are in Scotland, and
Mhm.
some of these locks are pretty freaking deep. I think the one that is like the famous, like where the Loch Ness monster supposedly resides, I
Mhm.
think it's like 800 feet deep, and
Wow,
that's deep for an inland, water body. And
that
so,
is extremely deep.
there's a chance of underwater caves, and
Yeah.
we've talked about the hollow earth before,
Mhm.
and so you never know. We've talked about interdimensional beings. We've talked about
Yes.
time portals. We've talked, so you name it, it's all possibility.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to go over a little bit, just a history of the Loch Ness monster. This is from Nova. I guess it's a PBS show. I haven't watched it in years, but this one, I'm using this one because it has the oldest reference to it.
Okay.
Um, It says, when the Romans first came to northern Scotland in the 1st century AD, they found the highlands occupied by fierce tattoo-covered tribes they called Picts, which, for those that have any interest, I am descended from those Picts, or painted people.
Okay.
From the carved standing stones still found in the region around Loch Ness, it is clear the Picts were fascinated by animals and careful to render them with great fidelity. That's kind of a nice little guy, uses some big words. All the animals depicted on the Pictish stones are lifelike and easily recognizable, all but one. The exception is a strange beast with an elongated beak or muzzle, a headlocket or spout, and flippers instead of feet, described by some scholars as a swimming elephant. The Pictish beast is the earliest known evidence for an idea that has held sway in the Scottish Highlands for at least 1,500 years.
Wow.
The Loch Ness is home to a mysterious aquatic animal. So for at least 1,500 years, there's been people talking about some kind of craziness going on in the lochs there. And you can kind of see let's see if I can enlarge that, but you can kind of see that little thing there. That's what they're talking about there.
Wow.
It also says in Scottish folklore, large animals have been associated with many bodies of water, from small streams to the largest lakes, often labeled Loch na Beastie on old maps. These water horses, and that's important because water horses is probably the most used name.
Really?
And, refers to like seahorses and stuff like that. So water horses is one of those generic blanket kind of words that people use, apparently.
Right.
Let's see here. Once the children are abroad, their hands become stuck to the beast and they are dragged to a watery death, their livers washing ashore the following day. That's nice. The earliest written reference linking such creatures to Loch Ness is the biography of Saint Columba, the man credited with introducing Christianity to Scotland. See, we're getting a Bible reference in there. In AD 565. According to this account, Columba was on his way to visit a Pictish king when he stopped along the shore of Loch Ness, seeing a large beast about to attack a man who was swimming in the lake. Columba raised his hand, invoking the name of God and commanding the monster to go back with all speed. The beast complied and the swimmer was saved. Thank God. When Nicholas Witchell, a future BBC correspondent, researched the history of the legend for his 1974 book, The Loch Ness Story, he found about a dozen pre-20th century references to large animals in Loch Ness, gradually shifting in character from these clearly mythical accounts to something more like eyewitness descriptions. But the modern legend of Loch Ness dates from 1933, when a new road was completed along the shore, offering the first clear views of the loch from the northern side. One April afternoon, a local couple was driving home along this road when they spotted an enormous animal rolling and plunging on the surface. Their account was written up by a correspondent for the Inverness Courier, whose editor used the word monster to describe the animal. The Loch Ness Monster has been a media phenomenon ever since. And basically it's saying it's a really pretty big industry as far as the money that they kind of haul in because of it now. And of course, everybody knows this is the picture they're referring to.
Yeah, everybody wants to catch a glimpse of it.
Yeah, everybody, I remember when I was a kid, when I saw this picture, I was like, I got fascinated by it.
Yeah, me too.
For all I know, that could have been a floating log with whatever on it, but it fascinated me as a kid because A, it was not in my own country, it was in some foreign land, and B, they used the word monster in the name. So as a kid, monster. Always about the monsters.
Right.
Don't know why.
Yeah, me too. Trying to catch a glimpse.
That's right. Trying to catch a glimpse. Let's see. And then I guess the thing to really note is since then, just like Bigfoot, there's been so many local accounts of sightings. Some were debunked, some weren't. There's been a lot of tourists that go there specifically just to see if they can get a glimpse of the Loch Ness monster. They'll camp out on the shore there and they'll do their thing and they'll, spend, days there hoping to get something.
Right.
And then you've got what is it? Oh, the real scientists. There's been, I can't remember how many, let's see, expeditions. There's been quite a few actually, serious scientific expeditions, with sonar boats and the whole 9 yards.
Mm.
And probably the most famous picture from that, which I still to this day is etched in my brain, is this picture here. This was in one of those scientific expeditions. You can kind of see this flipper.
Yeah. Look like
that
a
they
tail,
caught
I
this
guess.
under the boat, I believe. And they described it, and I don't want to quote this wrong, but they described like this beast, they called it, or this object was quite large, larger than the boat. And it was at like, what'd they say, 80 meters or whatever it was. So I'm sorry if I don't get this all exact, but that they were able to catch this photograph, and this is actually a pretty famous photograph. And people have compared this to, we've talked about dinosaurs in the past. They've compared this to the plesiosaur, which supposedly has gone extinct. But they believe that, possibly, who knows, maybe just like in the Congo, where supposedly there's these little brontosauruses that have been seen there. There might be little pockets of these creatures hanging out in some of these really deep, remote areas of the world. And who knows? I mean, got to keep your mind open.
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it kind of goes to the point where, it's always good to want to know the truth and be able to get information on things that nobody's really talking about. Once again,
Yep.
Everything plays a part. It's not a coincidence that people, would be seeing something like a Loch Ness monster or getting all these weird things. Like I was watching Ancient Aliens earlier today, and they were talking about,
Did you see the guy with the hair?
Yeah, I know, yeah, the wacky hair,
The Greek guy.
yeah, but it's like, these people have these are factual stories of people actually seeing different alien things and different creatures and all this stuff.
Well,
It's like, why not look into it?
there's ancient paintings. By ancient, I mean like centuries old.
Yes.
That show, I mean, what look like flying saucers or UFOs or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
in the painting. Like one had to do with Mary, I think. I don't know if you remember that one, but there was like a depiction of Mary, and I don't remember the exact. I don't know if it was when Jesus was born, but I remember it being of Mary. I'm 99% sure, and it showed like this little, what looked like in the painting, what looked like what we traditionally think of as a UFO. With light, with a little bit of light emanating from it, like from like windows or from like light holes or whatever you want to call them. And, and even throughout history, like in ancient India, you had the whole, and this is on Ancient Aliens too, the whole Vimana thing. Like when you have the battles, they had those aerial battles. The gods would battle with each other, and with these aerial vehicles that, the way they describe it, seemed like they were like firing missiles at each other. And some descriptions were like nuclear explosions, and like the ground shook, and smoke was billowing and blah blah blah. So the way they describe it, it sounds like what we know today as like modern rockets or rocket engines and that kind of stuff. And it's fascinating, because it's there. It's in ancient history. It's in these books. It's in these pictures. It's in these paintings. And it's like, we didn't make it up. It's there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So true. So true. Why not look into it? Well, it's all in the Bible, and it's funny when we're, today we're talking about Loch Ness. Immediately, I thought about a creature that's talked about in the Bible, called Leviathan. which
No.
God calls him Leviathan, and this is during the time of Job. And you know, in Job chapter 41, you know, God is actually, you know, questioning Job, and so he's, you know, part of it he's talking about, you know, the things that he created, you know,
Mhm.
and verse 40, chapter 41, verse 1, he questions Job. He said, "Can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook?" Because Leviathan was so big, and you know, he talks about it even as you go down, or press down his tongue with a cord. Can you put a rope in his nose or pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he make many pleas to you? Will he speak to you soft words? Will he make a covenant with you to take him for your servant forever? Will you play with him as a bird? You know, this is a creature that God is saying like is massive, and you know, and it kind of reminds me because Leviathan is talked about even in other parts of the Bible, but it's fascinating how God is pretty much exposing what Leviathan looks like, and then other creatures that he talks about in Job that were kind of prehistoric. And these were creatures that were, I believe, probably existed during that time of Job,
Mhm.
you know, and, you know, religious people may put it to the point like, it's just, you know, God just using the metaphor or whatever. No, he's talking about these creatures that he created, he made,
God really
you know.
wasn't big on metaphors.
Yeah, exactly. When he spoke, that's what it was. That's what it is, you
Yeah,
know.
I don't want you to interpret what I'm saying. I want you to hear what I'm saying and take it
Here,
literally.
right. Exactly. You know, so I always think about Leviathan, and even when you talk about Loch Ness, it's like, oh well, I could believe there probably is, you know, other creatures like Leviathan that are in the waters, you know, as we see with Loch Ness, you know, and probably other sea creatures that nobody's really discovered yet, you know.
Well, Leviathan's a perfect analogy. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't
Mhm,
even think about that. And
mhm,
that's a good tie to what we're trying to do here too.
mhm.
Um, Especially with ancient Christians, especially. And
Yeah.
the world is still vastly unexplored, and it's because of the amount of water on this planet. Even though the climate crisis, people would have you believe that, you know, the world's going to end in the next 10 years or whatever. But
Mhm.
it's so vastly unexplored. I mean, there's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
such deep places in the ocean, you know, that we can't even get vehicles down to that depth because they would be crushed.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
there's deep freshwater lakes. And who knows what the interior of the earth looks like? You know, who knows what kind of caverns have formed, what kind of, you know, interior features there are. You
Mhm.
know, who knows? Some of these animals could have procreated and survived and continued in these little pockets of whatever you want to call them. You know, these
Mhm.
isolated pockets of, um, oh, can't think of what I'm trying to say, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, there's
Oh yeah.
where is it here? There is, let's see, as far as like sightings go,
Mhm.
I'm not going to read them all. I'm just going to read the names of them. So besides the really ancient ones, there was D. Mackenzie in October in 1871. Um, that was a sighting. These are all popular sightings. These aren't all the sightings. These are just popular sightings.
Okay.
Alexander McDonald in 1888. Alden McKay in 1933. It's the one we were referring to earlier. George
Mhm.
Spicer in 1933. Oh, excuse me. This is the one that sparked the interest.
Okay.
Hugh Gray was the photograph. And let's see here. Arthur Grant in 34. The Surgeon's photograph in 34. Taylor film in 1938. William Fraser in 1938. Um, in 54, there were sonar readings. Peter McDabb in 55.
Mhm.
There's a Dinsdale film in 60. Loch Ness Muppet in 1977. Loch Ness Muppet. What is that? This is on the 21st of May, 1977. Anthony Doc Shields, camping next to Urquhart Castle, took some of the clearest pictures of the monster until this day. Shields, a magician and psychic, Yeah, there's no skepticism there. Claimed to have summoned the animal out of the water. He later described it as an elephant squid, claiming the long neck shown in the photograph is actually the squid's trunk, and that a white spot at the base of the neck is its eye. Due to the lack of ripples, it has been declared a hoax by a number of people and received its name because of its staged look. Okay, well, now I know.
Right.
Holmes video 2007, sonar image in 2011, and I think that's I think that was the one with the flipper.
Okay.
And let's see, George Edwards in 2011, and David Elder video in 2013, and there is also one recently, very recently. There were some, these are the more well-known searches, like were scientific expeditions or whatever.
Right.
There was the Edward Mountain expedition in 34, the Loch Ness Phenomena Investigation Bureau in from 62 to 72, sonar study from 67 to 68, the Robert Ryan studies 72, 75, 2001, 2008, Operation Deep Scan. That's the one where they really brought out the really high, at that time, highly advanced sonar and that kind of stuff with echolocation and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
Searching for the Loch Ness Monster in 2003 was a BBC thing. We know how much we like the BBC. This was from September 25th, 2021. So this year, I found this on the New York Post of all places. There's a video that goes along with it, but I can't get it because it's protected on their site, so I can't like download it. I have to screen record it, and I didn't have time to screen record it. But this guy that, and I'll show you the clipping from it. He was going there to with a few other people, and I guess he's kind of like this outdoorsy. He has like a YouTube channel that's really big, and he's like an outdoorsy kind of guy. And he's always going on these like kayaking trips and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to see in this picture, but they had a drone with them, and everywhere they would go around Loch Ness and all these other lochs, they would take drone footage of their camp. Because in this picture, it's like their boats and stuff are on the shore right there. But what I'm going to try and show you is right here.
That's exactly what I was looking at when you first brought that picture up.
Because in the video, this is actually moving. It's actually kind of going, and it's not moving like it's floating in the water kind of thing.
Right.
And it has like this weird grayish color. And it's huge compared to the boats. It's huge. And the guy that took the drone footage, when he saw the drone footage and edited it, he didn't think anything of it. Let's see. I'll just read the story. Might as well. It says, Nessie, is that you? A British outdoorsman paddling through Scotland's Loch Ness for a long-distance charity canoe trip may have inadvertently captured drone footage of the fabled Loch Ness monster. The only reason I'm reading this is because it was literally this September. The last thing I wanted to do is make a Nessie claim, Richard Mavor told the Post. I'm the most skeptical of people, but watching this, I think, yeah, there's something a bit strange here. The video image taken last month of a long, thin form just beneath the water's surface was so fleeting that Mavor 54 didn't notice it when he posted it September 1st. He created it wasn't on his YouTube channel, so the Post must have bought the video because I was going to try and download it from there.
Yeah.
Which means they own it now. Yeah. He created 2 lengthy videos to chronicle a 4-day, 62-mile paddling expedition that raised 15,000 pounds, about $20,000 for the Alzheimer's Society charity, and posted them to his YouTube channel, Richard Outdoors. Let's see here. It says on day 3, when the group pulled their canoes up in a remote spot on the south shore of Loch Ness for the night, he sent a camera-equipped drone aloft to capture a shot of the group. As the camera zoomed in, the outline of a creature nearly twice the length of the beached 14-foot-long watercraft appeared to approach the group while floating beneath the lake's rippling waves.
Wow.
A week later, commenter Steve Bates called the image to Mavor's attention. Says, 4 minutes, water's edge, the ripples look like Nessie, Bates wrote. Must be a trick of the light waves, Mavor responded. But after looking at his footage more closely, he began to have second thoughts. The more I watch it, I think, crikey. Mavor told the Daily Record, there really wasn't anything in the area that could be. I had to rewind and fast forward several times, Mavor told the Pulse, recalling that he had seen no driftwood or other large objects in the water. That's what confused me. It's an inland water. You don't get tidal debris like you do at the coast, he said.
Right.
Things do wash up, but nothing of this size. Reports of a mysterious monster in the depths of the deep lake date back hundreds of years. No, they date back centuries. With the earliest claims made in the 6th century. And the shape captured by Mavor's camera bore an uncanny resemblance to a plesiosaur, which is what I thought when I saw the video. A sea creature from the dinosaur-dominated Mesozoic era that has long been associated with the elusive Nessie. In fact, Mavor's group was traveling with a bright green stuffed Nessie toy to serve as the expedition's mascot. We called it the Nessie Award and handed it to the person who made the biggest fool of themselves on the day. At the time he shot the drone footage, the miniature monster was riding along in the bow of his canoe. Maybe the real Nessie just wanted to get a closer look. Well, it wasn't that special. Oops, hold on a sec. I forgot this. This is one of those. Here, hold on. This is one of those images where it's not an image. It's like a web image. So you got to open it with like Firefox or something.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. Okay. It's hard to see in this video probably, but when you watch the video itself, you can see it kind of moving around in there, and you could see it kind of a distinct shape with like looks like flippers kind of hanging on a long neck, kind of right here.
Yeah.
Right at like where where it falls off, where the deep part is here, like this is the shoreline, and it kind of drops off, kind of just hovering right at that deep spot there.
Yeah.
So
and where was that located?
That's in Scotland. That was
it's in Scotland.
Yep. So I just wanted to include that because that was the most recent sighting.
Wow.
And of course, you've got people coming up with stuff like this, and, I don't even know where that's at. It's probably at some amusement park.
I know something like, is that like Jurassic World amusement park or something?
It looks like a plesiosaur, if you're basing it on fossils and stuff, but
the neck and all that.
And then there's some kind of iconic imagery besides that, besides this. There's a film that goes along with it, and this, you can see this kind of thing moving out in the distance. It's kind of moving across the screen. I can't remember what year this was. Let's see if I have the video for it.
We were soon to know, for through our telescopic lenses we saw the grey waters suddenly heave as the monster cut through them with lightning speed.
Love the music.
Climatic conditions and exposure day and night to bleak and stormy weather affected our film, which accounts for the misty results. But this is unimportant in comparison to the achievement of filming the monster itself for the first time in history.
I feel like I'm back in school watching one of those.
I know, the old pictures.
Here's another one. I think this is from that same time. You can kind of see like right here with the water being kind of moved.
Yeah. Just looking.
Back there, they didn't have the same. They probably, if they would have had an iPhone 13 back then.
Yes, they would have caught more. Caught more what it is, Yeah, that's interesting.
But these are just kind of the more iconic images. And then you've got, and this is kind of interesting. I didn't know this. This is just a depiction of some guy on a motorcycle, and supposedly Nessie is a land dweller.
Wow.
Like at night, there's a lot of stories of Nessie coming up onto the shore, into the areas near the shore, and walking around on its feet or flippers. And so there's a lot of accounts of people encountering it there instead of in the water.
Wow.
Like I said, there's
that's
so much stuff with like Loch Ness and Bigfoot and that kind of stuff, and you can go on for hours and hours and hours. And so I hope this is helping you guys, at least if you haven't heard of the Loch Ness Monster or aren't familiar, get your feet wet a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get your interest. Bigfoot or whatever. At least it gets you to consider some of the things that are going on in our world that the powers that be would try to keep hidden.
Right.
I don't know, I guess until a certain time or whatever, but because what I believe is eventually a lot of this stuff is going to get exposed because they have all the information on it, but I believe sooner or later it's going to definitely, more sooner than later, it's going to get exposed.
Yeah, I think so too. That's weird. I pay for like 400 gigabit service, and I keep getting these things on StreamYard that like my internet connection is like weak or whatever, and I'm directly connected to the modem.
I know, I get that sometimes too. It's like, and I'm directly connected straight to the modem.
It's like,
it's
shut
crazy.
up, leave me alone.
Look, they're actually enhancing it a little bit with StreamYard. I mean, they're adding new features, so hopefully they would get their whole streaming stuff together. So we don't have.
I know they just added like Teams or something like that, where you can invite multiple people to be like co-hosts and that kind of stuff, and so they can kind of do everything but stop and start the show.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's crazy.
I just want them to work with other platforms, like as far as the chat feature goes, like with DLive and stuff like that, because for other subjects and things like that, I use DLive and Twitch. Twitch works with StreamYard as far as like the chat feature, as far as I remember, but DLive does not. I actually have to put an overlay in my OBS from DLive so I can see the chat in my what's like what people are saying, but because it doesn't show up in here.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then this was the Daily Mail like newspaper clipping for that iconic photo. It says London surgeon's photo of the monster yards from Lochside, see enlargement inside. I just love old advertising. It was always so dramatic,
Yeah.
See enlargement inside. Like, so you had to buy the paper. So like the kids selling the paper, you only see the cover. So to see the enlargement inside, you got to buy the paper. You got to buy it.
Man.
Let's see here. Oh, and this is David Elder's video. I forgot I had this.
There's something there. Here we are at Fort Augustus. Something moving in the water on Loch Ness. No idea what it is. It's like a ripple. It's like something under the water.
It's huge.
It's gone, like.
No, it's not.
No, it's still there.
It's still there. To the left.
It's as if it's moved quite a bit up.
Wow.
So again, take it for what you will.
And are there any documentation on people diving within those particular rivers or lakes, or nobody's really tried to do that?
They're very, 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 very murky. Like, I live in northern Ohio, and we have Lake Erie, and it's kind of like it's similar to Lake Erie in that if you're a diver, it's really not clear. Like you can put your hand like in front of your face and not see it, kind of thing. That's how murky the water is. And I believe Loch Ness is the same way.
Okay,
could be wrong, but I believe it's the same way. And here is another little video for those that like videos.
Thank you very much. Now, an amateur scientist believes he could have captured the Loch Ness monster on videotape. Yorkshireman Gordon Holmes was carrying out experiments at the famous loch when, by chance, he happened to spot a strange creature in the waters. Now, film of the incident is causing a sensation. Well, we can now join our own Nessie hunter by the shores of the loch, Nicola McCallie. Nicola, it seems Nessie's back in time for summer.
Well, Kirsten, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster dates right back to 565 AD when Saint Columba was said to have seen a strange monster in the waters behind me here. Now, since then, tales of Nessie have surfaced regularly, and she's become something of an icon right around the globe. So whenever there are tales of new sightings, it sparks something of a frenzy, and it's certain that these new pictures will already be causing a stir. And as you can see for yourselves, there's definitely something in the water.
Could this be the Loch Ness Monster? This footage was taken at the weekend by an amateur scientist who happened to spot a fast-moving creature swimming across the world-famous loch. Gordon Holmes from Yorkshire had been undertaking some amateur scientific tests on the loch, recording sounds from the deep with special hydrophonic equipment. But nothing prepared him for the prospect of actually setting eyes on what could be the elusive Nessie, an event he luckily captured on film.
I suspect that if they can't quite figure out quickly what it is, it'll take years of continual argument. And who knows, if it turns out to be an unknown creature, unknown species, that's going to flood the local tourism in the area.
Gordon took his
Got
tape
some
to
freaky
local
eyes.
experts who say
I
it
know.
needs further
It
scrutiny.
looks a little different.
So far, the jury's out.
It has the appearance of an animal of some sort in Loch Ness. The issue, of course, is how big is it and what is it? And I'm afraid that is going to have to await some further assessment. There are, of course, a number of creatures in Loch Ness that can give rise to wakes, and they would include otters, seals, and water birds.
Gordon hopes to have the tape further analysed to try to get to the bottom of the Nessie mystery. But even from a scientific viewpoint, he believes the Loch Ness legend stands up to scrutiny.
Of all the things that are sort of unknown, I think the Loch Ness Monster is the one that's got the most credibility due to reliable witnesses in the past, and also due to these sonar contacts. I mean, you just can't throw those kind of ideas away and ignore them. I think you need science to look deeper into it.
So, could Nessie have been captured on film? Well, no doubt the images will undergo further analysis as people try to work out what the creature is. But in the meantime, it's another mystery at the heart of Loch Ness.
Well, Nicola, is this going to herald a fresh...
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Interesting.
Hi, Deb. Deb says hi.
Deb, how are you?
Glad you could make it. I don't know how much you've seen Deb, but may have to rewind.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Loch Ness Monster is, to me personally, like I said, one of those things when I was a kid. It would have been like a book or something that I had sitting on the bookshelf, or would have been a picture from a magazine or something, or a newspaper clipping in another book that I was looking at, just because, again, kids, well, at least me anyway, kids like dinosaurs, kids like, stuff like that, outer space, dinosaurs, monsters, whatever. And I was no different, and
same here.
I was totally into fossils and that kind of stuff. Where I live, there's a lot of shale, so there's a lot of you can always find a lot of fish fossils and a lot of like ocean fossils and stuff like that, because the Midwest, like especially Ohio here, was under an ocean that long ago, however long ago. I think it was like 200 or 300 million years ago, whatever it was. So, and that's another thing too. As the world changes, there's areas that are underwater for lengths of time, and then there's areas that are land, and there's areas that, like, there's a lot of places that are in the deepest parts of the oceans right now, or that are in the oceans right now, that were once not, and vice versa. And who knows if some of these animals over time, as the water starts receding, start getting isolated and start, trying to find other places to swim around in and other places to live. And, that's even happened at one point along the Nile River in Egypt, in that area, because the Nile River was and actually was in a different spot, and it was much broader, much deeper. And I can't remember it, but it's like it's in a different spot than it was back in Pharaoh's time, like back in the time of Moses, and that time.
Yes.
So that's even just like more of a modern example of how things can change and how things can force other things to relocate, I guess, or migrate, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you got the different tectonic plates and all that stuff that's moving around, and the water changes the landscape, and you may have some animals or beings in the water that are changing the landscape as well.
But think about how much stuff happens around the water, how much almost every like ancient culture, ancient civilization always started around the water, like whether it was a river, a lake, an ocean, whatever it was, because that was a source of not only their food, but their some of their cultural history comes from there, and their legends, their whatever. And even now, like speaking of ancient aliens, there's often referred to, it seems to be in certain areas, like off the coast of, like near Cuba and like the Bahamas, off the coast of California, there always seems to be like water activity, like weird things happening in the water, whether it's vehicles or lights or whatever it is going in and out of the water. Even the Navy's admitted, stuff happens in the water that they can't explain, with lights and things they can't identify.
Things coming out of the water and everything.
So, and who knows? I mean, who knows? God's right now in a process of, I feel like Joe said earlier, like revealing things. People are afraid of the word revelation because they always think of the revelations in the Bible, and they think, oh my God, it's the end of the world. So whenever you say revelation, it's kind of a scary thing. But revelation's a good thing. Revelation's
very good thing.
Revealing, it's like you're here.
Unveiling,
something else you didn't know about. Here you go.
Right. You get to have new information of truth. New truth is being revealed to you. So hey.
Deb, do you got any questions about Loch Ness since you're on? I don't know if anybody else is on. I only see a couple people on, but do you, Deb? Got to have some questions. We got a few minutes, so ask a question if you got one.
Yeah.
Because we'd like to, get enough people on here where we can do Q&A, like a round, fast Q&A kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be really good.
Stump the host.
Yeah, you guys can get some revelation and information.
Okay, Deb Howard says, how long has it been around? Are you talking about the Loch Ness Monster, or the idea, or what we know as the Loch Ness Monster, or the Leviathan, like that Joe is referring to?
Oh man.
But if you're referring to the Loch Ness Monster, I'll go, if you didn't see that part.
Yeah.
The earliest account of any kind of sea creatures was 565 AD.
Wow.
So about 1,500 years to answer your question.
That's a long time.
She says, I got my notice late. Yes, the Loch Ness. Okay. But yeah, so about 1,500 years in its current, whatever you want to call it, modern form, name, whatever, since 1933-ish. So quite a while. I mean, as far as, but everything we seem to talk about has a deep-rooted history in ancient cultures too. Like when we talked about Bigfoot, a lot of ancient cultures have some kind of an account or some kind of
Excuse me.
cultural thing about giants or hairy ape men or whatever. And same with Loch Ness. There's areas, and we're just focusing on Loch Ness. There's areas around the world that have their own little, for lack of better term, lake monsters or river monsters or ocean monsters. Like Joe brought up Leviathan. The name Leviathan outside of the Bible has been used to refer to a lot of different creatures that can't be explained in the ocean. And Leviathan, the idea of Leviathan, like if you watch 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like the original one with like Kirk Douglas and that kind of thing, that was like what a lot of ancient sailors considered a Leviathan, was like a giant squid.
Mm-hmm.
Anna says, sorry to be late, wanted to see this. That's fine, Anna. It'll be there when you're done. You can watch it. Deb says I gotta watch the replay. Okay. So we appreciate that you're watching, period.
Yes. Yes. Oh yes.
So Anna, since you're on now, do you have any real quick questions? We got about 6 minutes. Because I know you do. Anna, you've always got questions. Come on. I know you do. Let's see. What does she say? It can be a 2 a.m. watch. I pay attention. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm the same way. Joe gets woken up about 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes too, apparently.
Oh yeah. I'm used to it by now. It's like I'm used to it.
Especially when you get some words and some little prophetic insight. That seems to be like right around that 3 o'clock time.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. It's like the heavens are open.
So Deb says, I love your shows. Try to catch all of them. Oh, well, thank you, Deb. We appreciate it.
Yes, definitely share the videos and let us know any topics you guys would like to talk about.
Yeah, we're just randomly picking stuff. I mean, we tried to stay on track a little bit by having this like cryptic creature series, but we will gladly change to anything you want to talk about. I mean, there's so much to talk about that's, to me is interesting and ambiguous, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even like ancient Egypt could be a whole, and that could have a huge biblical tie-in as well as a, just eerie kind of sci-fi-ish / whatever kind of with tying
a lot
it
of
in
spiritual things went on in ancient Egypt.
Yeah, Egypt seems to be, maybe that's what we should do is ancient Egypt.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Because it covers a broad range of things like ancient technology. It covers, the Bible. It covers prophecies. It covers, different cultures and giants and help possibly with these, for lack of a better word, Nephilim or whatever you want to call them. Who knows who built the pyramids? That's
right.
Again, like Joe said, there's a big period we really don't know a whole lot about.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh, what does Anna say here? Anna, sorry. Says, hey, your Lord. Well, she'll correct me if I don't correct myself.
That's good, Anna.
Woke me up at 12 2 weeks ago and to show me what QVD had QVC. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Had a sale on heating pads that I needed. Well, there you go.
Look, it's the same thing as God sending an angel to help me find a parking spot. It's like
right.
They all work hand in hand. Like God, he uses angels and
Yep. Deb says,
hand in hand.
I'd love to hear y'all's take on ancient American Indian cultures. Well, maybe.
Oh man.
Maybe that's what we'll do, Deb. We'll start with ancient Egypt. We'll go to ancient American Indian cultures. We'll do ancient Greece. We'll do a lot of ancient cultures because that'll help us keep the biblical and the spiritual tie, because all those regions, all those peoples have a very strong connection with
Oh yeah.
Christianity in some way, either to help develop it or, as we know, to help crucify people. But they all are kind of entangled, I think. And
Oh yeah.
so Anna says we to go deep into Sumerian. Yeah, there you go. Sumerian culture. When I was in 3rd grade, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Me as well. Then I wanted to be an astronaut until I found out NASA was whatever. And now I know how it's connected to the Khazarian Jews and historical biblical things we're dealing. Yes. Yeah, actually, that's a very good point.
See, I was the one that wanted to be a scientist.
Did you really?
I had the microscopes. I had the telescopes. I mean, I was bringing animals in, and my mom used to get in trouble for that and bringing in frogs and turtles and all kinds of stuff.
I was the same way. I had a microscope, the whole nine, the chemistry set, the whole 9 yards. But I used to pretend like I was creating, like bringing back to life dinosaurs or baby dinosaurs or whatever.
Yeah, it was right after Jurassic Park came out. I had the sea monkeys right after Jurassic Park came out. Like I tried to do the experiment to bring back dinosaurs. I went and caught a frog and everything and tried to get
I was
that kid.
Well, for me, it turned into a passion. Like as I used to bring home, frogs and snakes and all the other stuff. And one day I brought home this little, it looked like a piece of styrofoam. It was like about this big, and it was like a light brown. It was like like a piece of foam, and it was on a cattail. So I broke the cattail and brought it home, and I stuck it in a jar. And I don't remember how long it was later, maybe a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up one morning and there were like hundreds, I kid you not, hundreds of baby praying mantises all over the wall, all over the desk and everything else. And my mom about had the biggest heart attack she's ever had. She tolerated a lot of the other stuff I did, but man, that just sent her right over because trying to get all those things out of the house when they're, like teeny little things. So, anyway,
all right, it's about that time.
It is about that time. Deb, Anna, and everybody else that have been on, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for the questions too. Good questions.
Thank you very much. As Joe stated earlier, we do want participation. We want the interaction because we do want these shows to not be one-sided. Like it's okay that we start talking and showing things. We want to have conversations too. We want to, eventually get to a Q&A kind of thing and just open up some discussion and, kind of deviate a little bit and just use the shows as a starting point. So share this, give it to your friends, your neighbors, whoever, post it on your social media. We appreciate the support truly. And, just let's help us grow this channel. This is one of our favorite shows. We want people to see this. We want people to watch it. And, again, we're not like scientific masterminds or anything. We're just having fun here, and we're not trying to be the authority on anything. Just an hour break from our crazy lives.
All right.
And then go, if you have time, go watch Joe's show. He's got a show coming up here, and he's going to be starting right now. So so God bless all of you. Thank you again, and until next time, we will see you later.
All right. God bless.
God bless.